Hi, thanks for tuning to another episode of The Spiritual Scientist. Hey, I'm Victor. Thanks for checking me out. So I wanted to talk about two things today. There's a lot, well, maybe three things. So there's a lot of things I could talk about. One of the things that's really bothering me is that in Hong Kong, they've changed the laws, which a lot of people don't know, 2 weeks ago, and they didn't change it there. They changed it in Beijing, China. They were supposed to transfer over power to China in, I believe the year was another 47 years or the year 2047. Nevertheless, it's a further away time than now. And what they did was they passed some laws in Beijing that they can actually arrest people and for dissidents. And unlike here, where in the U.S. we have protests, they have most of the country, more than half of Hong Kong, got out and protested against this, and they couldn't figure out what to do. So the Chinese government, what they were doing is they were attacking newspapers, anything with freedom they attacked. When they pointed out all the discrepancies in the communist regime, people had an opinion, and then they're now arresting people, and it's horrible. And you won't see this in the mainstream media, which is really bothersome to me, because I feel like maybe it looks to be the Trump administration a few weeks ago made some kind of backdoor deal because the Chinese government had these, we were working with these trades, and I know what I heard behind closed doors, the rumor mill and all that, was that what was on the table was Hong Kong. And China, plays hardball. They're like, well, it's billions of dollars worth of revenue for this and that. Well, we'll let you do this, but you have to, lay off Hong Kong and don't let your media talk about it. So when we do it, it's just going to happen. And you haven't seen it in the news, so I believe that actually transpired and occurred. And horribly enough, like they're being arrested and put in jail, and it could be even, organ harvesting of these, what you're calling dissidents, but these are just people on, could go on Twitter or something like that, or they have another one in China and say something against the government, and they're going to come, arrest them and horrible, put them in jail for the rest of their lives, and organ harvest and nightmare stuff. So you're not hearing about this in the news, which is, bothersome to me. I can't say enough about it. So please bring awareness up with your social groups or what have you. And I don't know what we could do, but there must be something, because this can't go on. I believe it should be reversed. Not a good thing. There was a pig that, another type of swine flu that they determined in, guess where? China. And it has H1N1 in it. And it is transferable from human to human. So far, not a lot of people have it, but this could be a worse thing than the sea. So right now, that is starting to go around in China, which is, that's bad news. Couple of things, talk about. I thought it was interesting. Like I talked about this before, we had the Swan Comet, and the last name Hamza, which I'm using my last name, means swan. So I was like, this is for a reason, right? You look at these things, and there's signs in the sky, and people are not, like, what are you talking? They don't get it. So now there's a new comet, right? Neo, like the Matrix, which means one, and wise. That's the name of it, NeoWise. How crazy is that? So that means the one becomes awakened. I mean, you can't make this stuff up. Did I make it up? No, it's the name. Look it up. It's coming. It's a comet. So it means the one is waking up, which is within ourselves as well. You are one. I am one. We're all one. We're waking up, right? It's amazing the times we're in. So people, I always say this, people don't listen to me. They absolutely don't listen to me at all. It's amazing sometimes what I say. There, like I talked about the Hamsa comet, I made a meme up about it. You know, no likes, no shares, nothing. You know, I'll make one about something else that's like 1,000,000 shares. It's amazing because it just goes over people's heads. They're not understanding. And I could even put liner notes and explain it. You know, it's the two-dimensional thinking. Now, there's a comet that I've been an asteroid rather. I think it's towards the Kuiper Belt, which is, they say, I've been looking at this for a while, has like 1 trillion pounds worth of precious metals. So you're talking palladium, platinum, gold, iridium. Those high precious, metals are on this asteroid. Like, it is the asteroid. Like, they determine through the wavelength of it, and they can look at that and how light reflects and everything else. So we're sending a probe, of course, right, to it to see, hey, is this are you gold, are you platinum? And then people, I posted something about it, and people are like, oh, that'd be great, you could be a world's first trillionaire. It's not like a trillion. It's just, it'd be useful for mankind to have it, right? Because it's precious metals. So that means precious means that there's not a lot of it, right? And there's gold could be many uses. Like, it's very useful. It's one of those metals that you could take and you smash, and it actually gets, it's a compound that moves around, and you could shape it in different things. Ferro something, right? So ferrometallic. So you could take that, and and it's good for anti-radiation and all these great things, and the best internet, best connection for electricity, because it comes from a star. Everything does, right? But monatomic gold, let's get into it, right? So you're like, what? Google it. And then you're like, what? So that is something that they're going to do. What people don't realize is when you have 1 trillion pounds of something, it makes it worthless, right? So gold would be like, everything would be gold everywhere, and it'd be like, what do I care? What do I care? I have, my whole house is made of gold. What is it? It's if there's so much of something, it's hard for people to perceive that that amount, like 1 trillion tons, it's pounds, whatever. It's so much that just people don't get it. But if you had, that's what it is with abundance. So if you had so much of it, then you would be like, on Jupiter, it rains diamonds, right? Sometimes. So they're like, what do you mean it rains? Because the center of Jupiter, I was talking about this 20 years ago, can be a huge diamond because the carbon gets layered and it gets squished down. So it could be a huge diamond, and they're like, what? Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds. Look it up. No. That's something. Anyway, so I was doing, I do distance healing and all that, and I had somebody that said they wanted to, be their spiritual mentor. So I'm always like, cool, because I'm actually the dude that does it right the right way. I feel like I'm like, everybody else is full of, but they don't know what they're doing. So, so I sent them some cool information, really, really neat. I'm like, here, do this, do this, do this, which I'm happy to do. And, you know, what invariably happens and then he sent me a picture, and they're like, here, fix my tooth. I got a cavity in it. You're a healer. Demonstrate it to me. Prove it. And there's a cavity right here, which is so uncool. It reminds me, I had, in the past, I had this guy that said, can you heal my daughter? She has this, right here, a cavity in a tooth. And he's showing me pictures. I'm like, oh my gosh, a young girl. So I'm like, he's like, yeah, I heard you do, distance healing and it's free. He saw a post like it's free. So I'm like, yeah, okay, I'll help. So I helped, right? And anyway, he goes, well, this is great. Afterwards, he's like, this is great. So I didn't have to spend $500 going to see a dentist. I was like, dude, you're just trying to get to me so you don't have to spend money with a dentist? That is so uncool. And then, like, he didn't take away anything spiritual from it, which is the whole idea behind it. He didn't take away anything that. He just didn't, he was just being cheap. You see, he just wanted something free. And he's like, okay, cool. So now I don't have to go to a dentist. I'm like, you know what? And then he's like, yeah, I'm not donating to you. I'm like, what a jerk, right? And he didn't want to get proper medical treatment for his daughter because, just because he's cheap. He just didn't want to spend. It's not like he didn't have the money. He had the money. He just didn't want to spend the money, which is very bothersome. So number one, don't let distance healing take the place of seeing a regular medical practitioner, I should say. I see, if I got sick, I would see if I couldn't get rid of it, I would see a regular qualified medical practitioner, you see. I believe in that too. What I help to do is heal the spirit, so the person's spirit helps heal themselves, you see. And so, and I do that to show that I'm a person of a high vibrational being that people can follow and understand greater teachings for their own benefit. It's not for me, it's for you guys, right? So that's what it's all about. And then I said, healing's a side effect of enlightenment. And the healing's a side effect of, and people are like, what? I don't get it. What do you mean side effect? I'm like, well, it's not the end all. It's just the intro. It's like there's been other healers in the past, like Jesus. I always bring up Jesus. And some people say, don't talk about Jesus. People don't believe in Jesus. Well, screw you. Talk about who I want. Like, he was healing people, and they're like, oh, maybe he is the shit. Maybe he knows something, Let's go listen to him. That's they're like, oh, he healed somebody. Maybe we should go listen to him. Maybe he has some clues for us. So I'm trying to give clues. I have clues. It's funny. It's funny. You can't make this stuff up half the time. But it just bothers me. And then someone just said, heal my cavity. I'm like, go see a dentist. Do I look like a dentist? Do I want to be a dentist? Okay, then I'll heal it. And then what? They're going to say, oh, you saved me $1,000 in seeing the dentist. So thanks. And like, but they didn't get anything spiritual out of it, number one. And number two, it's a whole thing. So it sounds weird, maybe, but from my point of view, it's very concrete. I'm like, you shall not tempt the Lord your God. You're saying to me, basically, you're saying, prove it. Prove it. And that's not cool. That's not cool. That's not cool. I don't think it's cool. I mean, I have a track record. I don't need to go out and prove. I'm not looking to prove anything. I don't have to prove anything. I don't want to. In fact, stay ignorant. That's cool. Stay. Keep ignorant. I'm not here. I'm not trying to red pill everybody. I'm trying to take the people that got red pilled and help them. You see, because if I was trying to red pill people, I would say other things. I think because the reason I'm not trying to red pill everybody is because if you get red pilled and you're not ready for it, psychologically, your mind gets blown, and then you get anxiety, and then you get stress, and then you get all these bad things, where if it comes in a gradual process, then that's more beneficial. So I had, I don't mention names or anything, but I've been doing a lot of spiritual counseling. I've always been doing that. Recently I've been doing sessions. I charge $80 for like an hour, of one-to-one video conference special of, helping people. And I have tons of information and tons of experience, and the people are getting really, great benefit out of it. And then a couple of people are saying, you shouldn't charge, anything. I'm like, what do you mean? I shouldn't charge for my personal time to be taken away from my life to sit down for an hour of giving you customized life coaching? What are you, nuts? What are you, crazy? And I'll do a satsang where I'm sitting and, I'll communicate with 20 people, and then, I'll do a meditation chant, and then afterwards I'm happy to answer any questions, and then this person is like, well, you don't, you really need to do things for free. I'm like, well, you don't understand. I do videos, I do a blog, I do memes that go viral, I do, I do tons of stuff all the time. And I'm telling people, hey, I'll do a distance healing for free. And they're like, and then sometimes, people always want to take advantage. They're like, well, I know you do distance healing for free, but what I want to do is I want you to do this, and I want you to do this. I'm like, oh, that's complicated. That's going to take a long time. You're not talking about just the regular distance. You're talking about all these specific things, and then you're getting into, that takes up time and energy and everything else. So, and then people are like, well, after the solar flash, money won't count anyway. I'm like, well, right now, I have bills to pay, and this is what I do for a living. This is what I do. Would you go into, your job, whatever you do, and say to some, okay, you know what, work for free. Let's just work for free. And then, people don't get it, So it's a lot of, I've been talking, like, I don't like to talk about money. I don't like money. And it's like, but we want abundance. So what I said to people is that you could send me $30 a month and get yourself set up that way, and then I'll do a healing for you, and I'll keep you in my prayers, all the time, and help. Now, it ends up being with a high vibrational being, like me, a high vibrational being, things could happen for you where you're not aware of it in a positive manner. You're not like aware, but yet it's positive. So you get positive things happen. A lot of times what I'm saying is we don't see the miracles that happen in our life. We just don't see it because it just is a miracle. It's like, it just like transforms, So we're in this holographic reality where one thing, if it changes everything, right? So people just don't see the benefits, and then it comes from love. So if you love something, you're going to give towards that something. Like if you love, like I watch other, spiritual teachers, and this one guy is a Catholic, and he a priest, and he a really cool guy, and I haven't watched him in a while. I even forget his name, but he was saying he tied to certain other, to church, and then to other spiritual teachers that he followed. So for instance, like me, I'll follow other channels, and then I'm sending them money through the channel, or I send them money. You know, it just all goes around, right? And then he said he wanted to sell more CDs, so he has these CDs that he wants to sell of his lectures. And then he said, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to send more money to the person I respect, and I'm going to send them extra money. Instead of spending more money on the CDs, he sent them, and then the universe reimburses him, and he sold more. You see, so it's like your glass has to be empty to receive. So what I'm saying is, if you send money to an authentic spiritual person, then you'll be reimbursed by either energy or blessing or money. You know, I have many times people that said they didn't have any money, but they wanted to get a healing, and then whatever happened, I heal them, whatever. And then they said they got extra money, and then they sent it to me. Like somebody just came up out of the blue. It's like, here's $40, kid. And they're like, what? I never got that before. Like, it was just, and they're like, here, I got it. So it's just like, what I'm saying is, you know, abundance happens. So it's an abundance philosophy. So I asked people before, hey, you go on my website, victorhamsa.com, you could send me $30 a month. Only a few people are doing it, but you'll benefit in so many ways, you know, that and it sounds so self-serving for me to talk about it. But what I'm trying to get to a point is that spiritual people in different areas, when we support each other, then we get away from the, you know, so much of the system, and we can be self-sustaining. So there's things that I want to get involved in, like an ashram and a yoga center and doing retreats and more, and, you know, writing, things like that. But the funds help because I, you know, have responsibilities. So, you know, people just don't seem to, you know, get it. And they said, well, you know, you don't understand. You should do everything for free all the time. You don't understand. I've been doing this for, you know, 25 years. If you had any idea of the stadiums full of people that received free healings from me, then you wouldn't say anything, you know. But they just don't get it. They don't believe, you know, that. So anyway, that rant is over. I just felt like talking about that because it came up with a couple of people, and one person in particular, you know, they're saying, oh, you shouldn't charge, it's abundance, you're going to, you know, well, that's what I do, you know, that's my job, you know, that's what's going on. And it's like, you know, other people, I guess, have, you know, different way of doing healing. When I fill myself up with the Holy Spirit and I do with healing, then I'll get tired, and that, because it leaves me and I'm just so tired, and then you know, that's energy is gone. And then, you know, one time I remember I had 100 people in a day that I ended up doing the healings for, 100 in a day. And after the day, like, I couldn't do a healing for 2 weeks. I was just like drained. I said, oh, I'm dead. I can't move. I couldn't. It was hard for me. Like, I was like, you know. So anyway, now you made it this far in a video. Let's give you the good stuff. So, mind-blowing stuff, right? So, a lot of good things. One thing is I wasn't sure if I was going to talk about it, but I'm trying to push myself into it, is the Mars Project. So the Mars Project was a quote-unquote test that I did, and a mind-blowing test, ended up passing. So it worked. So congratulations. Woo. So what is the Mars Project? I talked about it before in my videos before. If you look back in my other videos, I talked about the Mars Project. The Mars Project is my own personal project that I put together, not the one by, what's the guy's name? He came up with one Mars Project in the 50s. He had the rocketry, Van Doren. Not his Mars project, my own Mars project. But it was a terraforming project for Mars. with manifestation, right? So, being that I'm an ascended being, I said, well, let's do another test. And I'm always doing these tests and things. So I said, let's terraform Mars. So now we have the skies of Mars blue, and now it looks green, being that the magnetic field of Mars, like the aurora borealis, looks green now. You see, but and I said this before, when a higher vibrational being, when someone's in the present moment of now, when you make an effect now, it affects, when I'm such a high vibrational being, that affects all now, and all now is all past and all future, right? So now they're saying that the skies of Mars have always been blue, and now Mars always looked green on to that light spectrum, which is always interesting. So when a higher value of vibration that, you know, translates into your life, that you don't perceive it because you're on the third dimensional level. So it's like, you know, Carl Sagan did this great video. If you get a chance, watch it. So you have like this flat plane, and he said there's the flat land, and then you would have, you know, it's totally flat, and then you'd have a three-dimensional object, and it's totally flat. And three-dimensional object, you know, translates into the, you know, two-dimensional world, but within the two-dimensional world, you just see a slice, you see. So you just see a slice. So you're not seeing the higher dimensional value, because you're, from your perspective, you can only see flat. So as the three-dimensional object would translate down through it, it seems to be a bigger, you know, all the people in Flatland are like, how's this thing big? How's it small? How's it big? How's it small? Because that object's moving from their perspective, they only see it as a two-dimensional thing. But in reality, it's a three-dimensional thing. It's the same way when something happens from a higher dimensional aspect. When I come up with the Mars project, a terraforming project that I talked about months ago, and then when the Mars actually translates to have blue skies, and when it turns green, and then people from their perspective say, it's always been that way. You see, because they're translating the higher dimensional information into the way they perceive, and that's what it's always been. So that I thought I'd talk about a little bit. So that's because you get the reward because you made it through the whole video, you know. So it's very interesting. So you know, it's like I talked about with the fifth, when you're into the fifth dimensional, when you're a fifth dimensional being, it's like instant manifestation and manifesting things. And that's why I want to, you know, teach other people in a positive way. So I want to have retreats, and I want to have, you know, one-to-one video conferencing, whatever. I want people to listen to me. I'd like, you know, and I could help. So these are miracles, you know, they're real things. So when people said, hey, fix my tooth, I got a you know, I want a demonstration. You know, this is a demonstration for it, and I'll give it to you. There you go. I just made Mars look green and the skies of Mars turn blue. Okay? How's that? Boom. And you're like, he didn't do that. Well, yeah, I did. I said I did before you knew about it. And then you knew about it. But now you've always known about it because you're in Flatland. So that's what happens. People are in Flatland, and then they don't hear the words I say, because they're in flatland, and I'm like that, you know, that ball, and they just don't get it, you know. But I could say it in a plain as Jane way possible to try to help illustrate the point. Now, if I illustrate more how these things, you know, I could sit there and, you know, walk you through step by step, but that's what I want to do in a retreat, you know, setting. That's what I want to do in, like, it's not like a quick thing, right? And you get there through, you know, like I said, meditation. I talk about this all the time. Meditation, my breathing that I helped invent, Hamsa breathing meditation, all these kind of things. So, you know, like, subscribe, share. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope it blew your mind in a good way. Stay positive. Stay inside. Am I supposed to say that? That's what they're saying all over. Stay inside. Anyway, like, subscribe, share. Let's stop Hong Kong. You know, this like they say in that movie, The 300. This is Sparta. This is madness. You know, it's just, this is madness. This is Sparta. This should be Hong Kong, not China. This is Hong Kong. And he, you know, knocks them into the hole. You know, they need to stop this. And who has a higher authority than me? I just proved it to you. So listen to me. Gosh darn it. Anyway, like, subscribe, share. Thank you so much for tuning in. Always, peace out, Cub Scouts, and we'll talk later. And you could private message me out loud, smoke signals. I'm always around. I'm trying to be. All right, thanks so much. Bye-bye.